Brian Berman, Mr. Fly Vaunt himself. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast, brother. Hey, I'm so excited to learn more about what exactly Fly Vaunt is. For those of you who don't know what Fly Vaunt is, it's a private jet membership app. They've grown this thing from zero to over 3,000 members in the last 3 years. Brian has been instrumental in that growth. And just excited to learn a little bit more about Fly Vaunt today. Brian, thank you so much for coming on, brother.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on. I'm excited.
So let's jump right into it, right? Like, what is Fly Vaunt for those people out there? Like, what is Fly Vaunt?
Yeah. So it's actually a really interesting model. To understand what Vaunt is, you have to have a little bit of understanding about what goes on in the private aviation industry. Private jets are always flying around, right? They're extremely fast depreciating assets. So you have to always keep them on the move. But most of the time, it's not going to line up where you're going from one origin to a destination and then picking up a customer at that destination and then taking them to their next destination. If it worked out like that, it'd be perfect. Unfortunately, that's not how the world works. So these planes have to get to their next customer, and that creates what's called an empty leg, where the plane is going to be flying with just the pilots, no passengers. And this is baked into, the P&Ls of all the private aviation companies. It's, it's costs money to operate the jet. It costs fuel. You're paying your crew. And so understanding that, what we do at Vaunt is we allow our members access to those legs. So people, when you think of private travel, it's obviously very expensive, right? It's one of the most expensive endeavors you can engage in. Very, very small percent of the population will ever fly in a private jet. But because this is a loss to the aviation companies when they're running these flights, any amount back that they can get is a positive. So that's where we come in. We are allowing our members access to fly on private jets at a rate that was previously unthinkable.
So, I mean, for those people out there that don't understand how expensive private travel is, right? Like, how expensive is it typically? Like, if I were to go charter a flight and take a flight from Dallas to Miami, like some of these flights are, right? How much would that cost me?
Yeah, well, it varies a lot. There's a lot of different types of jets, from light to midsize, super midsize, heavy jets, and more. I would say, a fair number, if you were just, ballpark, something like $7,000 per flight hour. So I don't know how long that flight would be from Dallas to Miami. Probably close to between $15,000 to $20,000 one way.
Okay. And then so Vaunt membership is how much?
So we have two different membership tiers. We have Core, which is want to make sure I say the right price here, $29.95. And then we have Cabin Plus, which is $9,995.
So for $9,995 or $3,000 essentially, so 10 grand or 3 grand, I can essentially take these flights that would cost me 20 grand one way. Am I capped at like the number of flights that I have?
No, there's no cap. The constraints are going to be your flexibility to be able to take advantage of these flights, right? So it's important to understand. So this is the reason why we don't have millions of members, is the type of person that's a good fit for Vaunt is someone who has flexibility in their schedule. And of course, they enjoy taking spontaneous trips. And I would also add to that a certain open-mindedness and adventurousness. The reason being that because of the nature of empty legs, the destinations are predetermined, and these are coming onto our app. It's a very short notice endeavor. Our typical timeline of a flight is, we will put a flight on the app, let's say today, and that flight will either be leaving later today, if we're doing this in the morning, or sometime tomorrow. So you're finding out about these flights, about a day in advance. And so that's why I say that it requires a certain amount of flexibility to be able to take advantage of it, because, if you're chained to a desk all day, then it's going to be difficult to make it work during the week. That said, you can still make it work. We have plenty of people from all walks of life who've been able to take a flight. And the really cool thing is, and what we've really tried to do in terms of the pricing is, like you said, you can take a $20,000 flight for either $3,000 or $10,000. If you take one flight, it's already a great value. But you'll have the ability to take much more. Again, that's going to be dependent on where you're willing to go, right? Because we're in Dallas, so let's say there's a flight from Dallas to Miami. That's obviously a very attractive flight, right? But are you willing to go Dallas to Midland, Texas? I don't know. Maybe. I don't know if you watch Landman, but I might go for that reason.
Yeah, great show.
Yeah, yeah. It's a great value. It's a cool and evolving product that we have.
So, okay, so you're getting one flight at a discount, or are you getting with your membership? Are you getting multiple flights?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the membership gives you access to as many flights as you can get throughout the duration of your membership. It's an annual membership. So you'll have a year to, and what that gives you is the access to join lists for these flights. Now, obviously, we have other members, so you're not going to get every single flight that you waitlist for. But due to the nature of, again, of the timeline of these flights, I think people vastly overestimate what the competition actually is. Even having a few thousand members, we still have so many flights that are going empty. They continue to go empty with zero users even on the wait list for it. So there's no additional cost beyond the membership. We charge a $500 deposit, right? We don't. If you spill some wine on the seats, they're expensive planes. But yeah, it's just the membership cost, and then it's virtually unlimited.
So I'm not paying by the flight. I just pay my membership one time and that's it.
That's right.
So if I take 10 flights throughout the year, I'm still just paying the same monthly or the same yearly membership.
Yeah, and that's been done. That's been done several times in a much shorter timeline. We've had people take 10 flights in the course of 2 months.
So so for call it 10 grand or 3 grand, like who's taking the 10 flights? Is it the $10,000 membership or the $3,000 membership?
We've had members from both memberships do that. So I think it's important to understand the difference between the memberships.
Yeah.
Yeah. So currently, and of course, our goal and our plans for the future is to increase the diversity of the fleet. But currently, we have some 4-seaters, 6-seaters, 8-seaters, 10-seaters, even 12-seaters. And so what the core membership gives you access to is you have the ability to list for the 4 and 6-seaters, right? We have corresponding with the memberships. We have corresponding flights. So we have cabin plus flights and we have core flights. Core members have access to the 4 and 6-seaters. They also have access to the cabin plus flights, which are going to be above 6. What cabin plus gives you is the ability to have priority access to those flights. Well, cabin plus members are on a separate list for cabin plus flights, and they are only competing against each other because we have many less cabin plus members than we have core members. The win rate on cabin plus is much higher. With that said, if there is no cabin plus member on the wait list, and as I said before, there's still a ton of flights with 0 people on the wait list, that flight will go to a core member if they're on the list. So it's definitely possible to do that amount of flights with either. I just want to be clear. I wouldn't say that is like the average or that should be the expectation. I'm saying it's been done. And again, the factors that go into this is like, where are you willing to go? If you're willing to take any flight, then the possibilities are really limitless for how many you take. But I don't know how realistic that is for the average person or average user, if that makes sense.
Okay, so I'm always gonna ask first the extreme, like what's the most amount of flights anyone's taken in a year with you guys?
I don't have hard numbers on that. Probably somewhere around 20.
20 flights? 20
Yeah.
private flights in 1 year?
Yeah.
And they paid how much?
That person, I believe, paid $1,000. Our membership used to only be $9.95. Yeah. Pretty insane value.
That's crazy. So like $50 a flight, private flight. Now, okay, all right. So I mean, obviously, I mean, are you on a flight with like like a bunch of members? Is it like JSX or what? Like, I mean, obviously they can't have, the whole plane to themselves for that.
Yeah, that's another good question. No. So you get the entire plane to yourself. You can either, you can bring as many guests as you want, as many as the plane can handle, right? So if it's an 8-seater, you can bring 7 additional people with you. We do not put multiple members on the same flight. Though it has been brought up by members, hey, maybe you guys should give us the option to do this. We've explored that. I can't say that we have any plans to do that, but I will say also that a lot of our members end up knowing each other, and they will form groups, or I'm sure Facebook groups or WhatsApp or whatever. Well, there are members flying together, but it's not done through our interface. It's done with their communication with each other.
So, okay, I guess I'll transition here. So, I mean, sounds amazing. Sounds almost too good to be true. You mentioned members kind of getting together and knowing other members. How do they typically meet? I mean, is it like,
Yeah.
online, or how do they typically meet?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm sure some of them have met online through these groups, but we about a year ago had the idea to start doing some small events to bring our members together, give us a chance to interact with them face to face, and also give them a chance to interact with each other. The first one we did was actually in Dallas. Is at the Crescent Club. It went so well, we decided to keep doing them. So we've done at least like one every other month. Since then, we've gone to Vegas, we've gone to Miami, we've gone to Jacksonville, we've just recently we're in Tampa, Atlanta as well. And so when we do these, we just throw it on the app. Anyone can come, and it's actually a blast. It's a lot of fun.
So, what these are parties just for members?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
So,
it's actually
with that membership, I get multiple flights per year, and then I get to come to these events, and you guys do them all over the country.
yeah, yeah. So it's funny you bring that up because I forget about it sometimes, but it's been serendipitous. When this first started, of course, it's just the idea of getting on these flights, which is awesome in itself, right? And if it was just that, like, it's still a tremendous value. But now it's really evolved into a social membership as well, where you do get to come to these events, and it's a blast. I mean, when you think about the type of people that come to our events, it's our members, and you think about the type of people that fit into what I explained before as to like what would make it a good fit for someone. It's people who have flexibility and they're spontaneous and adventurous. These are very fun people, right? So a lot of business owners, entrepreneurs. We have people from all walks of life, but because of that, it's a really interesting mix of people. Um, it's always makes for a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's super interesting, right? Because when I think about it, it's not only you have cash to spend 10 grand on one on obviously it's still discounted compared to private travel, but it's still expensive to travel, right?
Yeah,
And then you're right, the type of person is probably an adventurous person because these are 24 to 48-hour heads up. And then not only that, do they have to make enough money to take these private flights, but they also have to have the free time and the flexibility to take the flight. So it's really like the ultimate, like it's probably a pretty cool group. And I'm excited. Obviously, we got one coming up. That's how we, even met on this podcast. But it's super interesting. I can't wait to meet the type of people that have enough money to fly private, cool enough to just say, F it, I'm gonna just go to wherever today, and then have the flexibility in their schedules. I'm sure most of them own their own business or their own boss to be able to do that. So I guess it would be a pretty fun, cool, interesting group. So I'm excited to meet them for sure.
yeah, yeah. No, it's always a blast. It's never failed.
So, I mean, we haven't really got to this. Typically, I ask this question first, but like all these members are looking to somebody when they're members, and I guess you're kind of that head person for Vaunt. I mean, are you like who are you at for Vaunt specifically?
Yeah, it's a good question, and it's evolved over time. But first and foremost, I would say that I'm the guy that always answers the phone,
Yeah.
which is ends up taking a lot of time, right? But when I tell people that I will answer the phone for them, I make good on that. And because of that, I've gotten to know a lot of our guys, our members, very well. I run our sales teams as well as our customer service. I've been here for a while, so I've watched it evolve, and have a lot of knowledge about the intricacies of how it works. So I wouldn't, pigeonhole myself into one thing that I do. I'm the guy who, if you're having a problem, you give a call, basically.
But the man with the if you got an issue, call Brian
Yeah.
for the Vault members,
And
essentially.
I do tell people, look, I can't perform miracles, right? But at the very least, I will do whatever I can to resolve a situation or make something better or facilitate a situation. I've had members call before and say, "Hey, I'm looking at this flight, and someone else has wanted." I'll look at the flight, and the benefit of always picking up the phone is I know a lot of our members, and so if I know the person, I'll give them a call and see, hey, how many seats are you planning on using? Do you mind adding someone to your flight? They're really cool too. And, probably throw on like a priority upgrade for them or something for doing us a solid.
For sure. Well, okay, so you've been doing this how long? Like, how long have you been with Vaunt?
About a little over 2 years.
2 years? Okay, so I'm curious, in the past 2 years, like, what would you say is your biggest business accomplishment, like for Vaunt specifically, and yourself?
Yeah. So when Vaunt first started, it was just utilizing the jets of our parent company, Volato. They had a fleet of somewhere around 25 Honda jets. And it was, had to make sure that it works, right? So friends and family members and pilots involved in Volato were given access to it. And when we saw that it did work, that's when we started rolling it out to the public and marketing it. And since then, we've onboarded several additional operators. So I would say, the biggest accomplishment is going from when you only have, 25 jets in the fleet, the amount of flights that you're going to have is capped on that, right? And it's not going to be 25 every day. Much less than that. Now we're somewhere around 1,000 flights a month, and that's because we've onboarded these additional operators, and that's added diversity of jets. There's a bunch of different jets that you can take, different size planes. So I would say that's really changed the landscape for where the flights are going. Who would be able to get value out of this. We are in areas that we weren't before. So I would say that is definitely the biggest accomplishment. That's still ongoing. And then for myself, I would say really just overseeing this from the start. I was the one who, when we first started rolling this out to the public, I just started calling people who had downloaded the app and not purchased it yet, and having conversations and finding things out about what piqued their interest or why they hadn't signed up yet, or what would have to happen for them to give it a shot. So I would say going from that to having the amount of people that sign up on a daily basis, that I would say is one of my favorite accomplishments.
All right, so abs growing, everything seems to be going pretty good. I mean, you've increased the price from 1,000 to 10,000, so it sounds like you're getting some traction on it. 3,000 users, pretty good amount of users. Where are you guys looking to grow most in 2026?
Yeah, that's always a pivotal question. We want to make sure that we're continuously improving the user experience. When windows are this tight, there's a very small margin for error. So continuing to optimize user experience and then just increasing the overall supply. And here, supply means flights. So going after more operators, because more operators means more flights, different places. The more opportunities there are to have flight paths we haven't had before. We even have some operators currently, who operate turboprops on the West Coast, that we can put those flights out a week in advance sometimes, right? So it's not always true that it's just next day, but that shows me that if they have the ability to do it, it's really limitless what we can do. The really cool thing about being a member of Vaunt is you're not gated at where you start, right? It's a lot can change over the course of a year, and it always does. So bringing on more operators, which will, continue to up the amount of flights that we have a day. That's what I would say is where our focus is.
Just quick follow-up. Are you guys are currently in the States, correct? Do you go to like Hawaii or overseas at all? Or is it just the US?
Yeah, that's a great question. Currently, it's the continental 48 states. International travel's pretty tricky. The vast majority of private travel in the world happens in the United States. With that said, there are plans to be able to offer flights to the islands. Again, I don't like to put timelines on these kinds of things, but it's in the works, I'll say.
Oh, that'd be cool. Take it private to the islands. I could make a song about that, man. That sounds
I'm sure you already have.
not yet. I mean, I have to experience it first. So you're gonna have to put me on one of those flights. But all right, cool. Well, I know we got an event coming up, right? Super excited for it. Great Gatsby themed. Um, are you looking forward to anything in particular about this one, or are you just like, man, I can't wait to see it?
Yeah. So this is going to be our biggest one yet. Obviously, you've had a big hand in this, so I'm excited to see what you put together. But we're expecting it to, be almost double the size of our, of our usual events. I love, a good black tie event. There's, from what I understand, there's a lot of cool stuff that's going to happen there. So to anyone watching this who's coming to the event, first off, I encourage everyone to come. It's going to be a blast. It's worth a flight if you have the time. But I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, is there an award for best dressed or something like that?
There's an awesome there's actually so I actually just added so we were gonna just do best dress, period, gets a painting, but I talked our artist into the artist, his name is Florentino. He is like the one of the most amazing artists I've ever seen. I'm so excited to like be able to just have him at the event. He's gonna be live painting there. But I actually just talked to him today, and instead of doing best dress, just overall best dress, we're actually gonna do best dress male and best dressed female. They'll each get a painting, and one will be more masculine and one will be more feminine painting. So
That's
he
awesome.
paints this really cool style, like it's like realistic but a little bit abstract, and he does like this Victorian style that is like a modern Victorian. I mean, it's just a like it's super unique and super different, and like the modern Victorian style like painting. I mean, these paintings go start at like $2,500, so
Wow.
pretty great prize for best dress for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Very cool. I love the incentive to come well dressed also. Yeah. I would definitely say, don't show up in a t-shirt and flip flops is
Yeah, that well, you won't get in because we won't,
right.
right? But
Yeah.
yeah, you gotta be black tie. I mean, the other cool part I will say about all my events that I think people like the most, and you don't really think about it until you've come, and then you get something to bring home with you. So everybody is gonna get a photo, at least one photo at the front, and then I have different photographers that'll be taking photos of the party. So it kind of gives like a total rebrand of your page if of your Instagram or Facebook. It kind of gives you a rebrand keepsake. And my goal with this is to just really spread kind of just like I feel like social media nowadays, it can get so dark that I just really want to spread some light with these events and some happy faces and some really great times. So not only are you going to get to come to the event, but you'll also in that favorite outfit because when you wear that great outfit, you really put some time and effort and money into it. You really want to get a good photo. And taking a photo on your iPhone's one thing, but then getting a professional photo of it and actually being able to take it home is a pretty cool feature. So I would say if you haven't been to an Elevate event, you're gonna at the very least leave with a really great photo of yourself. So that's probably one of my favorite features for sure.
That's awesome. Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
excited.
Yeah. All right, Brian. Last question. Everybody's got to do it. Okay. Nothing weird is going to happen. I promise I'm not going to draw anything on you or anything, but I just need you to just briefly just close your eyes just for a few moments. And I want you to paint me a picture. Budget is not an issue. You can have any amount of money. It's the ultimate Fly Vaunt event of all Fly Vaunt events, the granddaddy of them all. What are we doing? Who's coming? What's going on? Walk me through what your dream event would be.
Yeah. No budget is definitely fun. So I'm definitely going to start here with flying all our members from where they live on private jets, right?
Oh, okay.
Private jet membership company. Obviously, we got to start there. I like to keep it low key. I enjoy good conversation, right? So probably some fantastic jazz group, nothing overwhelming, but just at the best possible ambiance. I do like dressing up a black tie. We'll keep it there. Martini bar, right? We'll call it open bar, of course, for everyone. So everyone's having a good time. I like the red carpet treatment. I'm going to steal some of your ideas from this upcoming event. Everyone gets a good picture. Probably some beautiful models greet you there. And just good times and good conversation, man. That's really what I'd be going for.
So the ultimate of mixers, martini mixers from Mr. Berman.
That's right. Think James Bond, but there's no bad guy in the crowd that we're trying to go
Yeah.
at.
Yeah. All right. And everybody gets shuttled in on a private. It's pretty cool.
That too. Yeah, and home, of course.
That's a nice touch. Well, Brian, we got some of those elements coming up at the Great Gatsby. It's in just a couple of days, March 12th. I'm so excited to have y'all as our headline sponsor. Thank you guys so much. I'm excited to host all the Vaunt members. I'm actually like really looking forward to meet everybody, and we're just excited to have you. Thank you for coming on the Elevate Event Series podcast, and we will see you next week, brother.
Yeah, thanks for having me. See you there.